This week's 1044 is brought to you by Chevron Delo 600 ADF Ultra Low Ash Diesel Engine Oil. It's time to kick some ash. Trucking's a relationship business, and your relationship with your vendors can be and should be a lot richer than just swapping products for checks. Hey everybody, and welcome to the 1044, a weekly webisode from the editors here at CCJ. I'm Jason Cannon, and my co-host on the other side is Matt Cole. Fleet managers, think for just a few seconds about all the products that you buy. Tires, parts, uniforms, oils, greases, that's barely a fraction of it all. Total, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. But in a lot of cases, you're not getting all the bang out of your buck that's available to you.
Your salesperson is basically a product expert, and a good rep is an expert on how their company influences your productivity and profitability. You're also likely not their only account, so they have a wide picture and a range of experience of what fleets just like yours are doing right and are doing wrong every single day.
The ability to leverage that insight in a lot of cases is simple as just asking for it, said Tom Garkey, Chevron Lubricants National Accounts Manager. There's a lot your lube rep can do for you other than just make sure you have some. They can confirm you're using the right one in the right application. They can also make recommendations on how it's handled.
Product integrity. How are the lubricants that you're having? How are they stored? What kind of transfer containers that you may need to have in order to get from maybe your lubricants room out to the equipment? You know, whether or not those are clean and the products that you're buying have the same level of cleanliness when they actually are being utilized in your equipment. Other things are optimizing your oil drain intervals in order to get the most out of the products that you're buying. Are those drain intervals right for your operation? You know, do we take a look at oil analysis and extending drains? What are the drain intervals based on the OEs for your equipment? When you get your lubricants in, that you're storing them correctly. And if I wanted to make sure that I don't get water, into a drum that's stored outside, I can be covering all of those drums with a tarp. You can also, place that drum at where the holes on the top of the drum are at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and then place an object under the drum to tip it so that if any water did get on the drum, it would, try to keep it away from the two openings on the top of the drum.
The overall goal in a consultative approach like this is pretty straightforward, Tom said, increasing productivity and uptime while lowering costs.
Your lube vendor can also provide a lubrication chart, sort of an inventory of all your assets, showing you which lubes are recommended in each piece of equipment. That's a pretty handy cheat sheet versus just handling on the fly with whatever's on the shelf or in the bulk tank.
Having your vendor provide you with lubrication chart, have all of your equipment pieces and corresponding lubricant that you're buying that should be going in there. So you have a resource for the technicians to take a look at that sheet, look at what the lubricants are, and make it easy for them to say, hey, if I'm going to be servicing this piece of equipment, here are the correct lubricants for me to utilize. Well, we would always use the OE recommendation in order to guide the products that we would offer. You'd be taking into account, your vendor should be taking into account, what OE equipment that you have.
Bear in mind that your lube rep spends a lot of time on shop floors talking to maintenance personnel, and they've heard and seen it all. There's a couple things in particular that Tom says he wishes fleets knew, and he shares those with us right after this word from 1044 sponsor, Chevron Lubricants.
Protecting your diesel engine and its after-treatment system has traditionally been a double-edged sword. The same engine oil that is so essential to protecting your engine's internal parts is also responsible for 90% of the ash that is clogging up your DPF and upping your fuel and maintenance costs. Outdated industry thinking still sees a trade-off between engine and emission system protection, and Chevron was tired of it. So they spent a decade of R&D developing a no-compromise formulation. Chevron Lubricants developed a new ultra-low ash diesel engine oil that is specifically designed to combat DPF ash clogging. Delo 600 ADF with OmniMax technology cuts sulfate ash by a whopping 60%, which reduces the rate of DPF clogging and extends DPF service life by 2.5 times. And just think what you can do with all the MPGs you're going to add from cutting your number of regens. But Delo 600 ADF isn't just about aftertreatment. It provides complete protection, extending drain intervals by preventing oil breakdown. Before you had to choose between protecting your engine or your aftertreatment system, and now you don't. 600 ADF from Delo with OmniMax technology, it's time to kick some ash.
Provide training resources so that, in terms of utilizing the right products, teaching your technicians about how those products need to be utilized in a piece of equipment. If they're doing how to properly doing an oil analysis sample, if I'm checking my coolant, what are the different tests that I'm doing? What do they mean for what's going on in the equipment so that I can be more proactive in my maintenance? The other thing is, business reviews. What do we do on a quarterly business review? How do we communicate well between the laboratory and the fleet?
A business review is kind of that next level in the customer-vendor relationship where a supplier can walk with a fleet hand in hand to make sure the carrier is following all the best practices. It's basically another set of eyes for your management team.
In a business review, we would want to take a look at what products are you purchasing and make sure that the locations are buying all the correct products, that we have gone through your equipment list and recognize that, hey, these are your products that we've agreed are approved. Are these the products that match the warranty?
The business review can also help uncover that service intervals are not being skipped.
If you have, a shop and you're expecting a certain amount of transmission fluid or gear oil to be utilized, and that shop should be servicing those, we can help guide what's happening at that location to make sure that the preventive maintenance services are being done and are done completely.
That's it for this week's 1044. You can read more on ccjdigital.com. And as always, you can find the 1044 each week on CCJ's YouTube channel. And if you've got questions, comments, criticisms, or feedback, please hit us up at 1044trucking@gmail.com or give us a call at 404-491-1380. Until next week, everybody stay safe.